you.
Yeah.
Hondo Yedu, post EPK 2024.
No, like he's asking for it.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do it for this cam.
No, the sound picks up both.
Oh, real?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You blocking? Okay. Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember when you first met?
Yes. I do. Yeah.
Physically?
Yeah. I do.
I wrote this down because I was like, I
No,
don't actually remember.
It was.
I remember the first time I heard. Okay, you go first.
It was second year. It was when we got assigned to Blackout. That's when we like met, because like we knew of each other in class, but like we didn't like have that thing.
What did I say?
Oh, we're like, oh, cool. Oh, you met Tanya. I was like, yeah. Then I was like, I remember saying like, yo, I remember hearing you for the first time on like IG. I mean on Zoom, and I was like, who the hell is this? You know? And then I was like, I couldn't find you on IG, and I was like, yeah, because it's private, and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Oh, damn. I do remember you on Zoom the very
Yeah.
first time. I even remember what happened. It was like the lecturer kept cutting in the Zoom, and every time you would give your 2 cents on like the subject matter,
Yeah.
everyone got so excited. They were like, who is this guy? What's like this guy with the deep voice? What do you mean? He's not the lecturer. And I just remember everyone being like,
Yeah.
in the group chat, why didn't you teach us? Why didn't you teach us?
But I'm just a dude.
Yeah, honestly. But then, it was such a big like thing that we all got excited. That was the most engagement that I saw in our Zoom like sessions. And then even at the end, I remember people asking like, how do you do this? Like actually treating it like you're a lecturer.
Yeah, people actually thought I was a lecturer. Funny
Seriously.
enough. I remember the one time the lecture dropped, it was a contextual studies. I just happened to know the subject matter. So I took the lecture.
Yeah, no,
took the lecture.
it was a fun day.
Yeah, it was a fun day. But yeah, it was definitely when we shot Blackout. That's when we like properly broke the ice.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember the first physical interaction. I just remember the whole process of us on set and rehearsals, but the actual like introduction. I hate that though, because I really love the moment that I greet somebody and I'm like, hey.
And I remember you even had that jacket? I call it the Pocahontas one.
Oh, my go-to jacket, my uniform.
Yeah. I was like, Dad, that's pretty dope. It's like Pocahontas, man. I mean, controversy aside, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how we met, yeah.
And when did each of you know the arts were for you?
Yeah, why am I even thinking? I don't know. Like for me,
I'm interested in.
For me, it was when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, not before that?
Not before that, nah. Because when we moved so I was born in Zimbabwe, we moved to Mozambique. I started school in Mozambique, but we didn't have it was creche, so there was not like much like arts. We used to like dance, play soccer. Like I knew I was inclined to sports at that point in time, but then it was only when we moved to Swaziland, and that was September 2009. And they had a nativity play. I started off as a sheep.
For real?
And then the guy who was playing King Herod wasn't there, and then they were like, yeah, let's try the new kid. And I did King Herod, I had fun. Then came the awards, and then everyone got an award in grade 3. Everyone gets an award because, you get an award, And then there was a special awards, and it was like for outstanding performance in the play, me and Tanya Chita Vera. And I was like, what the hell? And yeah, ever since then, the stage has been pretty much the arts for me, yeah.
For me, I don't really know. I want to say as early as 5, maybe 4.
Yeah.
We used to, in preschool, I went to 3 or 4 different preschools. Yeah, preschool, we were trying to figure it out. We were trying to figure it out.
A bit as well.
Yeah, we were trying to figure it out. And I just remember the only thing that I ever looked forward to was when we'd watch films.
Yeah.
That's, in fact, as clear as day. I can remember it was still, I'm kind of giving away my age, but there were still tapes.
Yeah.
And we would watch these tapes of different animated films, and everyone would kind of just be playing around because, I mean, we were kids, attention span wasn't there. But I remember caring so much about seeing this thing on a screen.
Yeah.
And that kind of became, I guess, my obsession with that, and noticing that, oh, I'm the only one in the room that feels this strongly about, guys, we need to watch the, you know, we need to watch, we need to watch this thing. And I was like that every other time that something was on the screen. So my love, it was like tapes, then it went to DVDs. And I was obsessed with hiring DVDs, and that was kind of where my parents, I guess, they were like, "Listen, it keeps her busy." So,
simpler times.
And that's when I knew. I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I necessarily want to be the person on the screen. But the seriousness in which I took this world was when I was like, I'm probably going to do this thing for the rest of my life, as far as passion is concerned. But I wasn't sure about work, and then I think it must have been in maybe end of high school when it became clear to me that this is probably going to be the line of work I'm going to be in. So that's the odd thing for me.
Nice.
Would you say you were each comfortable letting other people hear your voice when you were younger?
Oh, hell yeah. I was a talkative kid. There'd always be there in the reports that me and Tani would focus. You know, me and Tani could just stop talking. You'd do a lot better.
We got the same feedback.
I was a chatterbox, man. My name was always on the board, eh?
We got the same. On brand.
Yeah, very much on brand. So, I was very, even like at restaurants, like the one time we were, I think this was either in Mozambique or Zim, or maybe even SA, I'm not sure. But they wanted to chase us out because I was talking a lot. Like the people next to us were like, "Yo, tell this kid to shut up." But I was like, "Hell nah, you must leave, bro. Like, what do you mean? It's a family-friendly area, and like place to eat. And now you tell me my son must shut up? Nah."
Yeah.
So I was still am very much comfortable.
even before even before primary school.
Yeah, I was never a shy kid. Nah, I was always confident. Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess that's what, I mean, with my dad always going to work, I'd always play and dance with my mom, you know, like we'd play soccer and everything. So like, I think how they raised me, they didn't solve a lot of my problems. Or like if I fell, they wouldn't be like, oh my gosh. No, like they'd be like, just get up, dude, dust yourself and then come get a bandage. And I think that really helped with my self-esteem.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
For me, I don't know. I think I wrote this one. I felt like I wanted to remember, or I tried to remember, because I haven't always been the same. I think when I was in preschool, I was very shy. And it wasn't because I was necessarily scared of people. It was just that, like, I was always new in preschool. So there was that. And then... and it's not even like I moved around like cities. It was different preschools within Johannesburg South specifically. And then I think what I can recall as far as memory, maybe grade 5 is the first memory I have, like being 11. Kind of engaging with people and going to parties, and that's when I started noticing that my voice started, like, as far as my interests were concerned, and being like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. That started, but truly, as confidently, was maybe 16. Yeah, confidently, meaning it's not just friends, it's not just trusted people. It started coming out a lot more, and I found an outlet, and for me it was writing, so journaling. So I guess my voice in that regard was also something that started then. And then I think it's grown since, and it's forever evolving, and I'm sure it's the same for you as well. But when I was younger, I just was so scared to speak up because I didn't like the sound of my voice, which is very sad to say it like that, but that was the case. I remember subconsciously being like, I don't like how I sound, because when I speak, people point out how I sound. I didn't actually know what I sounded like. But people would point it out. You know that feeling.
Yeah.
They'd point it out. They'd be like, "Why do you sound like that?
Yeah. And it's like, it's a bit different.
Why do you have that accent? Why do you have why do you speak English like that?
How slang?
How? Yeah, like how? Wrong way." And it was confusing as well because my parents didn't necessarily sound like this either. So just like, why does she sound like that? And surely you guys should sound the same because you're in the same home. But yeah, it was confusing for me because I was like, I don't know what I sound like. Like it was very confusing. So I was like, I don't wanna, feel bad about how I sound. So I'm just gonna keep quiet
100%.
and only speak with my cousins.
Yeah.
And yeah, like literally just speak with
Close.
my cousins and my parents and my aunts and uncles and yeah, it's changed a lot since then. Now I speak up a storm. Now I don't mind taking up space as much as compared to when I was little. So, yeah.
I mean, I would struggle at times, and I think this was mainly in high school, with not knowing what to say. Like how to fill the spaces when things would like get tense, or, it would always be a thing of like, but like I wasn't confident in that, because I mean, primary school, high school, it's all, primary school, it's all childish, especially in like the younger grades, just your brain it's all over the place. But in high school now, like, damn, you actually have to say something back.
Yeah.
You can't just be like,
Yeah.
and run away, but yeah, now, I mean, I think I'm still getting better at that though, like with, confrontation and stuff, but yeah, definitely comfortable.
I think you've grown in the time that I've known you, like the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In fact, the last couple months.
Yeah,
You've definitely
100%.
grown. I don't know. Do you think it's because we're together a lot?
I think so. I think for me, I don't like fighting. Like if the conflict must be earned. You get what I'm saying?
I hear that.
So I always, when conflict does happen, I'm always thinking, what's the most diplomatic thing that can be said to at least resolve this thing without there being, without having a whole Armageddon type of thing going on. So yeah, but yeah,
Okay.
100%, yeah.
How do the identity restrictions placed on you both affect you?
Right?
Damn. You. That went from like, that was like, yeah, that's fine. Wow, what a question. Sorry. Yo, how does that affect me? Man, it is so challenging. That's one thing I can say. It's challenging in the sense that like you present one thing.
Yeah.
And then you're not what they present, so then you're another thing.
Yeah.
But then as people get to hear you, then they're like, whoa, actually there's another, it's so layered, and it's affected how my university experience has been, number one, for sure, because I don't go to certain places, like you will never catch me, with all due respect. You won't catch me at, what's the place called? Where the Shisanyama, Kwa Mai, something like that.
I'm not going to name it because of the fact that this is definitely going to be public, but...
Oh, damn. But anyways, I got a twang when I say things. But like there's certain areas I just don't go there because I'm like, damn, how does one navigate that? I don't even have the vernac for certain places.
Real.
So I'm just usually at home. I'll go to my uncles. And fortunately, now for me, that my family has... my family is somewhat spread out in different parts of Johannesburg. I've got a family up north, I've got family in the west, east. Actually, not much of the south, I think I'm the most southern point. So
you're just central.
Yeah, at the time I'm just central,
Yeah.
But that's allowed me to get into different spaces within Johannesburg. I think there's also somewhat a lot of pressure, you know, because people think that, no, it's a guy, you know, and like, I know I'm just chill dude, man, you know, I'm just trying to get by, but it can get really tense sometimes, you know, because people will somewhat, when they get to know you and see that actually, wait, this guy is not who I thought he was, it either goes two ways. It either draws them closer,
or pushes them away. But the pushing them away comes with like intimidation or some sort of like a jealousy thing, you know, because people, talk is cheap, you know. We'll say, yeah, we're gonna do this thing. I do this thing, bro. You know, and not many people want to do it. So yeah, it's very question, man. I don't think I've even asked myself such a question because I've been around. Yeah.
You know, and it's always like this code switching thing.
Yeah.
Where you hear, you know, like sometimes you need to put on a young hola. Sometimes you need to put on a young, how's it, man? You good? You know, and I guess it's survival on a psychological level, though. Yeah, that's what it is for me.
For me, I think to your point, it pretty much affects everything. We've spoken about this a few times.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I don't say as much because, or I don't get into it as much when we do discuss it because I'm like, it creates a sense of, I guess, existentialism essentially because we're talking about my whole life, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about a big chunk of my life being in spaces that don't necessarily know how to welcome me because they're not really sure what I'm about.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like, does anyone really know what they're about? We're constantly growing as human beings. Do you actually know? But identity politics is a huge part of South African, like, I guess, or South Africa's fabric. So I guess I understand it, but at the same time, it's unfortunate because it holds me back as far as, so many things. It holds me back, friendships. It holds me back with family members. It holds me back with job opportunities, believe it or not. It holds me back with romantic relationships. And I think the it I'm referring to is the fact that I present as a black woman, identify as a black woman, and how people perceive me based on that and based on my name being Itumeleng. It's like, okay, surely this is Itumeleng, she's a black woman, therefore, oh, Itumeleng, what culture is that? Okay, cool, yeah. So I'll speak to her based off of that, and I'll treat her based off of that. And sometimes for some people are just doing it to be polite and respectful, and I get that, and I will read the room based on that. But in a lot of cases, it's very much an assumption. And it's like, you and I talk about this, like trying to debunk assumptions based off of how you perceive somebody. And I'm guilty of it too sometimes. I'm not saying that I'm perfect either, but
100%.
The identity thing is a tough thing. I mean, again, my voice, that's really what shocks people after they meet me. Because it's one thing to see and be like, this is what she is. But it's a whole other thing when they start having a conversation with me. And then it's always such a sad thing when you see some people sort of drop because they now think they know exactly who you are based off of that.
And their previous experiences as well.
Exactly. And so I've been navigating that, and I'm constantly navigating it because every time I enter a room that isn't familiar with, I guess, this voice. Listen, I am not the only person with this voice, I'm not. People don't believe me, and I've told you this before. There are more me's.
Yeah.
There are more me's.
That is true.
There's a time I even met a girl that sounded like me at my old high school. Damn. And I was like, whoa, this is last year.
Must have been like that Spider-Man meme.
It was so trippy. But it felt like it was me because she was like 17 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was me at 17. And she was just ushering me to my seat. And I was like, people don't believe me. And I'm like, there's so many of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is something I'm navigating, and I think also it doesn't help that my foundation of life, I guess, is being in rooms where it's me and one other person that looks like this, that has this particular skin color, and so you kind of have to identify, or you feel as though for safety you need to identify with that person based off of that race, but you're also not the same people. Just because you're the only two people that look this way in the room, or the only two people in your case that come from this place, does not mean that you're exactly the same.
Yeah.
You have different lived experiences, it's unique. So that's also, yeah.
On a lighter note, is there someone that's been an inspiration for each of you?
Sure.
Maybe it wasn't a lighter note.
No, it is. Such a loaded question, man.
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah.
You're going to make me cry.
I think, man, what's sad about this is that he's not alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's my late grandfather, actually. I never got to meet him. He passed away months before I was born, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why, he's one of the reasons that inspire me is because I'd always hear these stories of like how he would work in South Africa in the hotel business, and he would engage with all these white people, at the time. And my mom would always tell me that, they would always say, hey, Caleb, you need to, that was his name. Caleb, you need to get into like horse riding or golf. We've got the shoulders for it. And I relate to that so much because there's times where I think to myself like, damn, like I wonder if we would have. I think we would because with certain things, I'm very pedantic about quality.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the traits where but yeah, it's him. I think my mom and dad. I think they are my biggest role models, man. Like they have sacrificed so much for myself and my siblings, like they didn't have to, they didn't have to see my mom, always talk about, they recently just got their first brand new car. Usually some people go through like 3, 4, 5, and we always, I guess as a family, somewhat looked down upon because we weren't, oh, thanks, man. Because we didn't always have the nice things up front, in case you also need some.
Real.
We didn't always have we didn't know, on the surface, we didn't have much. We had each other. And I would really draw a lot of inspiration from that, because it's hard moving around,
Yeah.
It's hard leaving a familiar place in the pursuit of survival.
Yeah.
Because laws change, people get into power and they change things, and that's what people do in their own countries. And specifically being Zimbabwean, it's just hard because you can't even speak up. There's people who've spoken up and they die. And that's so scary. It used to scare me as a kid, the one time we were at the embassy and my dad scolded me because I was like, who's this guy on the picture frame? And it's like, that's Mugabe. And I was like, damn, is he the reason why we're here? Because this was me trying to articulate why
This is happening.
Why we're not at home?
Yeah.
Why and I don't want to say I've been robbed, but like the situation in Zim has really robbed me the experience of just being
Home.
Yeah. So it gets so tough, when you're just trying to. That's why I work so hard, man. Because there's people out there that they don't have the luxury to dream.
Yeah.
They don't have the luxury to dream, and I'm not saying our problems are small problems. Everyone's problems are problems, but like, it's a luxury, man. There's kids out there who all they know is just that.
Yeah.
That's it. All they know is a bad space. And, you know, I sit there and think to myself, like, man, what am I doing? What's the best that I can do? Because I can't solve everyone's problems.
Yeah.
But I know there's people in my hometown where I come from where, you know what, if I can at least do something, you know, that can contribute
Yeah.
to that, you know, and people can see that, you know what, this guy, I was born here, but at least he's doing something with himself. He's not misbehaving or doing anything crazy in another country, which is a topic for another day. But for me, really, it's the people that don't have much also that inspire me.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to not have much, you know, like I said, really, my family, it's really just been us. It's affected how we make friends, how we navigate with family. You know, I've seen poverty, man. I've seen poverty, man. And, you know, I think to myself that, and this is why I love the arts so much.
Yeah.
You know, it allows us to get work done, you know, and tell stories of people, you know, that don't have the voice or the funds to tell the stories themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and it always hits deep, man. It always hits deep, you know. People always think, you know, maybe because, you know, it's middle class, would probably say like some celebrity or nothing. No, it's really just my parents.
Family.
Yeah, it's really just family, you know. Seeing my rents just break their backs, you know.
Yeah.
For my sisters and I to just sacrifice. See that sacrifice, you know, the least I can do is to break my back, you know, for what I do.
Yeah.
So as far as the people that inspire me, man, it's a really sad way of saying it, but yeah, that's my answer. Yeah.
That's a good answer. It made me realize how much I didn't actually think about, or how much I didn't like to think about the sacrifices that certain people in my family made on both sides of the family. Both my parents made sacrifices by uprooting their lives to come to Joburg and build a family here. And they weren't alone. It was a community of them. And I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I think all of them are my role models. That group, I don't know the numbers. Maybe it was like 6, 8 of them. It's just this group of people that existed in South Africa before '94, and they all got their education and graduated, and they were all like, we're gonna get a better life.
Yeah.
And we're gonna support each other in that. And they came here, and being with you it's brought back like flashbacks of good things. Like they all got their first houses together at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
And they all had babies around the same time, and in my head as a kid, I'm not thinking about life before me. I'm thinking about the life that is, you know. So I didn't look at it as, oh, they don't know what this feels like. That was their first time. And a lot of them, it was, you know, in their 30s. They'd never known what it was like to have that experience. In fact, they didn't know it was going to be a possibility for a big part of their lives. And it's so interesting being around you, seeing how the politics in your country has affected your livelihood and your family's livelihood, because it affected, you know, so many other families as well. And there's only a few that got out, like you said. And the ones that did get out are my role models as a result, because not only did they get out, but they also helped each other stay here. Whether it was like supporting businesses, or it was giving you advice on what are the best schools, what are the best schools that, you know, our kids could go to. And it was a conversation of race. It was like, you know what? It's scary. We don't know what it's like to put our kids in these schools, but we're going to try because that's what we were told is the best. And they sent us to these spaces, and they didn't know. And it wasn't like it was a horrible time for me. I mean, I had a great time at school. I I was fortunate to be in one school for pretty much most of my life as far as primary and high school is concerned. And I had amazing friends, but we were all just a few black kids in these white spaces. And our parents were figuring out stuff at work and trying their best to climb up in their respective careers. And it wasn't even a money, like power-hungry thing. I think that's why I'm saying they were all my role models. It was like, how do we maintain this beyond us? Like when we die, are they going to be fine? And I think that's why you made me feel a lot about this stuff, because I didn't realize that that's what, my grandfather was doing before, I didn't realize that that's what he was trying to instill in his kids, and then his kids are trying to instill that in us. The thing about being born with certain privileges is that you assume that they're going to stay there. And I think you were a perfect reminder of the fact that, no, it actually can be taken away from you very quickly.
Yeah.
And what happens when it's taken away from you, And so that's why I think I admire your work ethic, just like as a partner to work with. But I also think it's beautiful because you remind me of who my role models actually are. I've not told them.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. I don't know if they'll ever see this. All of them. I don't know if all of them will ever see this, but I do remember the parties that they would throw, and it would just be them, because obviously they're not home. They're in Joburg, and it's the same faces. They would have family trips, and they're cultivating this life for these kids, the first, and they went through varsity. I'm sure some of them wanted to achieve certain dreams that, that had nothing to do with school. But education was the one thing that my grandfather said that's what's going to get you out. And for them, that was the case. That was what got them out. And so those are my role models, the babies of the 60s and the early 70s, that whole squad that saw apartheid, grew up in apartheid. Both parents saw apartheid from different sides. My dad grew up in a village. My mother grew up in a township. And they still don't talk about certain things about that time, and I can respect that. But I appreciate them. So those are my role models. There are definitely other role models, but those are the ones that when I look at you and I listen to you, I remember that those are my people. And I'm glad you brought up your grandfather, because you've made me think of mine. And I miss him. Yeah, but I did know my grandfather, so it is a little bit different. And lost him last year, and it's been weird because that's also part of what's making me remember that, like, damn, people really lived a tough life, eh? Like, apartheid wasn't real to me until you hear people who lived in it.
In those times,
and we're like, it's the same thing as when you speak to someone when you speak to your parents about Zim, and it's like, no, they tell you how it was at that time, that they were very much younger but also got into their adulthood, and why they sought refuge for their family. And the same way that my grandfather was like, I'm not going to not have an education. That's not happening. And he fought for that. And so shout out our role models. Damn, that was so real.
Yeah, we're here now.
We're here now. we crossed over the threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next one. Do you feel there's an expectation that puts pressure on what you're doing right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So with me, I'm a multi-talented individual.
Yes, you are.
And being sometimes, even in the Bible they talk about this, but I'm not sure where, but sometimes no, man, I have to say this right. If I don't, it's gonna
The great power.
No. No, it's to whom much is given, much is required type of thing. And you always feel, not you, but like I always feel like because I've been, and sometimes it's a burden to be burdened by knowledge, because there's this expectation that you'll just be successful.
True.
You know, and not that I don't want to be successful, it's just that people will see you working on something for so long and it not working out. People think that you can come off as you being lazy or you not being serious enough about your talents or whatever the case may be. But really, it's just that some things just take time, you know. And for me, my parents were always like, no, you need to be able to focus on the conversation. When I was younger, it used to be a thing of like, nah, you need to be good at more than one thing. You need to, no, okay, at the time, my marks weren't great, but it was more of a thing like, you need to find that one thing. What's that one thing?
That you are good at.
That you are good at. And I thought for me, I thought it went without saying that it's the arts. I deserve to be here, right? But then now, as fast forward to now it's that conversation of diversifying. Do you get what I'm saying? But then that comes with the conversation of immigration, because now I actually grasp it and what it takes, you know. So now you'll do another thing, not because you want to do it, but because if you have this thing, it might help you secure the next visa type of thing. But for me now, it's a thing of like, well, you can be great at a few things, or you can be exceptionally great at that one thing. That one thing opens doors for you to do other things. So the pressure's there, and it's tiring at times, you know. And I feel sorry for my sisters at times because they're not me.
Yeah.
I'm me, bro. You know, like I'm me, and my sisters are my sisters. You know, and it always comes with a thing of like I never try to. I hate comparisons.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I hate comparisons. I hate being compared. And it's not like a pride thing. It's just like, are you not seeing me try? Because I'm working hard, bro. I'm trying. I'm fighting for my life, man. And, you know, when I was younger, my cousins were very smart. Like, you know, they did that Cambridge. They did like 8-7 subjects, straight A's.
Academia, like
straight A's, man. Like, you know, and then now it's different because now we're all doing what we choose to do.
Yes.
And now I'd like to believe I'm doing great for myself within the arts. But damn, the pressure's there because my parents will see an opportunity and they'll be like, oh no, Minta, maybe you should try this, or maybe you should try this, maybe you should. And I was like, but guys, let's tone it down a bit, you know? Because firing all cylinders at the same intensity actually cuts your longevity.
Yeah.
You know?
Mentally, spiritually,
physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
You know, but damn, the pressure is there, you know? I must acknowledge that. It's not a thing where I feel pressured and under pressure where it makes me anxious or anything. No, and that's because I always try to make sure I know what I'm doing. And that gives me the comfort to not feel under pressure. But I do acknowledge that there is pressure around me. But so when you ask me like, how do you feel about this? And I was like, you know what, I'm fine. Hell yeah, it's crazy that there's a 50% chance I might be able to do work in the country, and there's a 50% chance I might not be. But I know that I've put in the best application I possibly could have put together. And, you know, by God's grace, it worked in my favor.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, the pressure's definitely there. And I think for both of us, it hits differently because we're firstborns as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot more intense. Every day is the first time with our parents.
Yeah.
You know, every day is the first time. And you kind of have to extend that grace to your ends because you're like, damn, why? Why me? Like, why? You know, and then you see your siblings, you know, get a updated version of the parenting, you know. So, but yeah, the pressure is definitely there, and I think if people could, especially with creatives, man, if people could extend a bit more grace, because like, it's not. We know it's not stable. Yeah. We know.
We're aware.
We're very much aware it's not stable, but it all comes down to a fulfillment thing.
Yeah.
And this is why I say you gotta be crazy to want this.
Really badly.
Really badly. And crazy in a good way, that like crazy to the point that you are willing to do whatever it takes to chase that fulfillment that you get from doing your craft.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who could have been in the arts, but they weren't hungry enough for that fulfillment.
Yeah.
And then they settled in corporate. And you know what? Hey, at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do to pay the bills. But I think us as creatives, not that we deserve, but I think a lot of grace would be appreciated.
Oh, 100%.
Because when you're done working your 9 to 5, you're watching us do our job. You know? The same way we extend grace for you guys when people get retrenched all of a sudden.
True.
You know? You're like, damn, it be like that. So, yeah, the pressure's definitely there. I don't want to lie. I can't be lying to them kids, man. It's there. It's there. It's not all sunshine and roses, you know. But when the sun shines, it shines.
I
That's one
knew
thing
you were
for
going to
sure.
do this. I knew you were going to do this. But you're not
It's
wrong.
important.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
For me, the pressure, it's. I don't enjoy talking about this because it's a little bit vulnerable, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just the thing of appearing smart. I've been complimented on my brain since I was maybe like 5. The first time I remember was it was a yellow class. Yeah, I was 5. And that was the first time I heard someone say you're smart without it being a reward system for an exercise. So it had nothing to do with learning the alphabet. It had nothing to do with building blocks. It was just like a teacher just saying that I'm bright, playing in a sandpit, because she had seen us, I don't know, we were arguing about something, and I think, you know, teachers know better than we do because they're observing us every single day. And that was the first time I heard that. I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, I don't know what that means. And then I started hearing it more and more and more and more as I got older. And what happened was people would see the brightness because I packaged that way. Not to say that I'm not smart, but they would be like, she's going to be fine because she's bright. So I don't need help. I don't need assistance. I don't need guidance. I don't need support.
Left to your own device.
Left to my own devices because I'm going to be fine. And, you know, what's funny is I would still finish off the year. Each year, you finish. And it wasn't until I got to like mid to late high school that it became very much apparent that I'm not fine. They were noticing that, no, she's consistently struggling with school. I was not good at anything outside of English and history. To this day, I still find that those are my 2 strongest, not in the context of school, but as far as interests are concerned, with education, English and history.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, can't I just take these 2 subjects?
Yeah.
Because everything else is not looking great.
Yeah.
And the meetings were never, oh, maybe she needs as much assistance as possible. It was more so, we don't understand you, but you're bright. So surely, you know, and then it filtered into my personal life a bit because as I got older and you start engaging in social spaces as well, that kind of became a thing. And then now in the arts, of course it's a thing. It's like, surely she's bright, therefore, you know, she'll be fine.
Damn.
She understands.
Yeah.
We don't need to, you've got this. And I struggle to talk about this because I don't want there to be an assumption that I cannot handle things. I can, but it's just that thing of like, bright kids need help too.
Yeah.
Strong kids need help too. Everybody needs guidance in foundational spaces. That's just the truth. It's even if a kid thinks that they've got this, or someone who's new to for example, you just entered the industry, creative industry, and it's your first time getting work or doing gigs or whatever. You also need support. You also need help. You also need guidance.
Yeah.
Mentors are a thing. That kind of stuff. It put an immense amount of pressure on me. To this day, I'll like second guess myself. To this day, I'll second guess myself because I'll be like, okay, but this person oh my gosh, they've clocked me. They know I'm smart. I shouldn't have said too much. because now they're going to think that I don't need assistance, guidance, support, just any kind of like help. And that puts a lot of pressure on me, which is why also when we would work together, I do this thing. It's a habit that I used to do when I was small as well, where I hide myself. So I cut my parts down. Me being dramaturge for this thing, like cutting the parts down, being like, oh, you know what? I actually think that it would work that I do less, or I say less, or I like my character sort of these choices that I would always do every year. It's not the first time I've done this, where I sort of make myself smaller and smaller and smaller, because I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to be found out. The problem with that though is that it makes for dishonest work. And when I'm so grateful that I worked on you with this, because it couldn't happen without some level of honesty.
Yeah.
So that's for me, that's the pressure thing is it comes from that, and I feel it every single day. But I try to work through it. And I guess people like you are very good at offering the support that I need in order to work through it. But yeah.
Day and night.
Day and night.
So next one, what's each of your relationship with theatre?
Yeah, man. Mine isn't bad actually. I'd say decent. I think it's only this year where I was.
I'd say it's okay.
Yeah, it's decent, you know. Yeah, it's decent, and I say decent because my exposure to theater, like proper theater, was not in Gauteng; it was in Mpumalanga.
Okay.
So the standard was very different. But then it was the teacher that we had. Shout out Mr. Muller, if you ever see this, Malzi. But Mr. Muller really brought this because he taught, I think, at like Westville, you know, when it was, Westville's in Durbs, right? Westville Boys.
I cannot confirm or deny that.
Anyways, but he would show us some of the work he did there, and then also some of the work he's done personally. I was on in the UK. I mean, that's where he is right now. And before that, at Njabulweni, at my primary school, was that it was not necessarily like theater per se. It was like the basics, but it was more just live performance, because I would do the Eisteddfords, the poems, you know, the talent shows. I would do like the rap music, you know, like back then, like pop and rap were like a thing, you know.
True.
What a time, man. So I'd get my friend, I had my friend Lungelo, he would sing the hook, and or Shaylin, you know, Shaylin and I would like just rap the verse on one of the, you know, it was always hook, verse, bridge, you know the drill, man.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that's what I was exposed a lot more to live performance more in my primary school days rather than theater. But then now when I got to grade 8 and 9, it was more live performance. And then when I chose my subjects, grade 10 to 12, then that's where the theater started for me. That's where now like, oh, actually this is how you go about telling a story for X amount of duration. It's no more like a 5-minute performance, talking 40, 30. You know, this is how you work with other people. This is how you avoid masking each other with the blocking, you know, and this is how you can be aware in the space, the same way in soccer. If you see someone goes in the space, you attack that space. Same thing with the stage, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and just trying to apply that, you know, and using my sports brain, you know, and just leaning into that, you know. So my relationship with theater, I guess it's, to an extent, it's somewhat also unorthodox as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what reflected in Hondo Yedu.
True.
Was that we didn't want to do the normal stuff, the conventional stuff, you know. I think for me, I'd always wanted my contribution to be different, whether it's strictly thought-provoking or strictly like heavy, or maybe it's just an artistic masterpiece of just like creative, like wow, you know. So yeah, it's as far as stage is concerned, yeah, it's been very decent, you know. Yeah, I think given the pathway I've had,
Yeah.
I've always relied on the basics, and the basics set the foundation. I think for anything in life, you know. I think that's what somewhat carried us through with our process, you know. We've got the lines, we've got the script. If you're here, let me balance the stage up by being here. Vice versa. Maybe we could hold space like this. And yeah, the basics will take you far. But yeah, decent. Decent is one way I could say. Yeah.
My relationship. I didn't have a background in theatre as a performer, but I was always a spectator, always a watcher. I was friends with people who were in dramatic arts or just associated with people that were in dramatic arts, so I always had access as far as watching performances were concerned. But the start of theatre was always through education, so you know, fortunate enough to go to schools that did have people who organized trips or had, you know, theatre groups come to the school and perform in front of us, and that was my first sort of relationship with watching, whether it was hooked on books or it was us going to the pantomime or it was us going to even us going to what's this place called Monte Casino or Joburg Theatre. That was stuff I did as, you know, young. And there was never a part of me that was like, I want to be there. I want to be on stage. I was just like, I want to watch as many plays as I possibly can in my life for the rest of my life. Even if it's me going to Broadway in the States or going to, what's this thing called in the UK? Just any sort of access that I can have to productions, I want to have that. And then it was high school where I started watching people that I knew. Now start performing their work and start performing, or not their work, but rather the work of other people. And I think it was maybe like 2022 that I sat with myself and I was like, you know what? I've been in live performance now, and I want to see what theatre makers that are close in proximity to me are doing, and continue the watching thing that I promised myself I would do. And I continued that, and I've been doing that ever since. And you hear me all the time. I will watch a play, one single play, multiple times if I can, because I'm trying to learn what makes artists tick, what makes stories come alive, what makes audiences feel special, feel wanted, feel a part of this world, because we only survive because of the watchers. Right? So without we learned very quickly in the pandemic that people who made a living out of being watched were not being taken care of.
Or being protected.
You know, and I was like, I want to be one of the people that do that. So that's probably why I felt the need to be in live performance. This proximity to artists, because I care about them so much, is so that's my relationship with theatre as a watcher. I'm an observer, and I learn through watching. So
you know, that's actually quite interesting that you say that, because for me, I don't want to say I was never a watcher, but I was always on stage. Even if I was just doing backstage like crew. You know, I was always, that's how I got involved. You know, but you know, I was just thinking now, we had this one, we're doing Greek theater, grade 10, so you know, choral verse and everything. And it was from that time where I realized that, you know what, man, like, my muse is anything. We're stuck with this one verse and we didn't know how to flow through it. And I think it was 2016. Yeah, it was a good year for music, eh? But we had it was that Jumpman song with Drake, Future, Metro Booming. I was like, nah, how about we say the verse like this? Let's see how we flow through it, you know? And then it worked. We ended up performing that thing outside of class at the damn evenings. And they just started, you know, and I'm thinking about our process. And I was just like, damn, yeah, the muse really be anything.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just interesting what proximity can do for one's creativity.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting you say that.
Is there a difference between acting on camera and acting on stage?
Acting on camera, they say cut, you know. When you're acting on stage, once you start, there's no pause. Oh, sorry, can we just, you know.
Until it's done.
And once you go, you go. Once you dive in, you're in, you're within, you know.
I would also say the
Audience.
yeah, like audience. Okay, I mean yes, live
Yeah,
audience.
like acting wise, like
Yeah.
when you're acting, it's just the crew.
We just have crew and cast.
Yeah, and they can't react shame. Like
True.
Like imagine like shooting like a comedy, bro, and like you're sitting, you're like. Sorry.
Some people do laugh though.
Yeah, you
Some
know.
people do laugh.
But because the sound guy needs clean audio, but stage it's live performance. People are laughing. You're like yeah.
Then there's
Off the
also
top of my mind, anyways.
there's also the identity. There's also the auditions. Where with theatre, there's just this freedom to play characters. Like if you write a character and you're like, to me, Itumeleng, I want you to play this character, or I'm thinking of this character, you're not sitting there like, oh, it's a black woman that's 1.58 meters, that has a
Certain
particular
weight.
accent and a certain
Yeah.
weight,
Body
and has an
structure.
afro,
Yeah.
and you know her, you're.
It gets cutthroat because they'll be like, you go to an audition and they're like, we're looking for handsome guys. You see like 50 handsome guys. You're like, damn. But they never get back to you. So you're like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Don't take it to heart, just jokes. But
Yeah.
it'd be like that though.
Yeah.
In one word, would you come back to the theatre?
I just needed to get that out.
In one word.
Yes. That is the word, yes.
Pending. Can I tell you, as a performer,
Yeah.
very much pending. Everything else, 100% yes.
Yeah.
I would definitely be artistic director, creative director, producer, stage manager, anything that contributes to the space, 100% yes.
Yeah, for me it's a yes.
Yeah.
I will be back.
And in one sentence, what advice do you have for young directors? Maybe that's a mere tiny question.
In one sentence,
Yeah.
make sure you're clear on what you want. Yeah, that will dictate everything else. Make sure you're clear on what you want, yeah.
But also, can I just add, and we both will be on the same page about this, me receiving the energy as a performer and you being director, I also just listen to your actors, hold space for your actors.
Yeah.
Very important, support your actors. Yeah, that it goes a long way.
Really long way.
Yeah.
100%.
And then for both of you, what advice do you have for young artists in one sentence?
Keep working on your craft. Make sure your craft is like a knife, and make sure it stays sharp, because you never know when an opportunity is going to present itself, and the last thing you want is to cut something with a blunt knife.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
No, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, don't be afraid to be an artist. Yeah, don't be afraid to be an artist. I think pigeonholing yourself, or putting yourself in a pigeonhole, that can really, so
Yeah.
don't do that to
100%.
yourself. Allow yourself to explore more than one way of being in the arts.
Real.
And before we move on to Hondo Yedu, what's a part that each of you are dying to play?
Oh man.
I'm curious about your answer.
And this is just generally speaking, right? Like
Yeah.
as artists, man, I really want to do like a superhero, like.
Oh, you did say.
Yeah, I'd really love to do a superhero or anything like action. You know, like antagonist or protagonist. Like, I want to drive something, you know, an agenda, you know, like, you know?
Love that.
Especially like a war movie. Especially like in a war movie. I really like, you know, like, I know it's just a movie, but damn, man, like when you see these guys, the way they talk, the jargon, you know, it's very technical, and I think that's what made me get into screen acting was the intricacy, you know, of how all these pieces come together. I mean, not that stage isn't intricate, but yo, man, when you're acting, you know, on stage is no R500 million camera.
Yeah.
Unless you have a crazy budget. But besides the fact, yeah, I've always wanted to do like a superhero, you know, and an animation.
Oh yeah, that
I love me some animation, some cartoons. Even if it's like an evil character and some so, but yeah, that's me.
For me, I don't know why it's coming into two now, but I'll answer. For screen, any roles that are quiet. I've always loved quiet roles. A lot of UK film and television does that. Specify like series like Normal People that are based off of novels, or Waves, that's an American film, where like Taylor Russell just did a brilliant job at playing a quiet character, but the quietness spoke louder than any other character in the film. And then stage, as much as I joke and I say I'm not coming back, honestly, Shakespeare.
Man,
I know you killed it. You've already exercised a version of what you could possibly explore, but the sort of strong woman characters in Shakespeare that I have never ever touched would be very interesting, because that's a challenge for my voice and my presence, and I think that would be really cool to be able to tackle that in the future, the distant future. Yeah.
To be or not to be,
that is the question.
Yeah.
So moving on to the production, why did both of you want to do this play?
That one's pretty straightforward for me. I wanted to tell a story that I could actually relate to across every facet of a performer. I think coming in doing, you know, like IEB drama, grade 10 to 12, like you study South African text, and it's rich text, but I was never able to experience that richness.
Yeah.
I'd somewhat not be jealous, but I'd be like, damn, I wish I could, you know, be able to be excited about Wilza Albert the way my classmates were excited about Wilza Albert, you know, and to get that excitement. So, yeah, that's what Hondo Yedu was for me. It was just exciting to be able to relate on that level. Yeah.
I just wanted to be part of an authentic story. And that was something we both were very much robbed of in the past. And I was like, how great would it be if the last experience we had together in this space was something that was authentic, even if I didn't necessarily. I think I would have been also happy if this was a one-man show that I was contributing to behind the scenes. But yeah, to watch you work and stuff, that work on something that means something to us and our time here, but also just your time in South Africa, that is the one for me.
Real.
Yeah.
Hard.
And what was it about the play that either of you might have been scared about?
I think, I mean, I don't say this. I don't think I've communicated this much
It's here.
As far as being scared is concerned.
Oh, yes.
Was how it was going to be received, because the way it was written in this particular topic was very different. And you know, when something is new, you don't know if, you know, I don't know if it's going to be received well. So I was just hoping that, like, you know what, like, when we have when we'd have the feedback sessions, that no one would get up like, you know what, actually, I just got really offended. That was like one of my biggest like things that actually get me scared, you know, because I said some pretty crazy stuff, man. Like some of those bars were bars, but like for others, those are whatever, you know, like. So I think that for me, that was the biggest thing. Like I was just hoping that like if we do get like backlash, like it ain't like whiplash, you know. Anyways.
I get that.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of don't get that because as dramaturge, there was nothing in your text that went there, and that was interesting because that was the note that was given, was that we didn't go there. So if we had gone there emotionally, gone really dark, gone really heavy, then I think I would have been on the same page as you about like I'm scared how it's going to be received. I don't know. Maybe I was just. I think maybe I was scared that people were not going to understand what. Oh, I was scared that we were going to be grouped into a box of this is theatre, this is, you know, these are the dramatic arts, and it's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, that's not at all what I'm trying to do. That's also what I was not trying to do as far as editing your work or even asking the people that came onto the stuff. I was like, I want people to at least get the fact that we're trying to do something.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know what it quite is, we're trying to do something.
Yeah, real.
So, yeah. So that's the thing for me. Yeah, but do you feel like it would have worked if we had gone the dark route or rather the emotional route?
No.
Really?
It was going to dilute it. Because the way I see it, it was that, like, the feedback could have been something like, pick a side. You know? It's hard because for me, when writing the piece, I was like, what is the one way that gets someone to do action?
Yeah.
Is it when the mind is engaged more than the heart? Or is it when the heart is engaged more than the mind? And when the heart is engaged more than the mind, you somewhat get into like an analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Because your emotions are, you know, it's all coming from here. But where decisions are made for a greater change, it's here. So I think it somehow would have diluted the message or the thought-provokingness of the stuff, because then people would have been somewhat conflicted with some, oof, that's a bar, that's okay. And then to like, you know, here, like it's...
I understand what you're saying.
And those stories will come.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, those stories will come where it's like, oof, okay, my, aw.
Yeah.
But I think the best way to get the conversation starting,
intellect.
yeah, let's tackle it there.
Mentally stimulating.
Exactly.
Next question. So, what was a pivotal moment for each of you in the show?
Pivotal moment in the show. Like for the narrative or...
Could be anything.
Hey, man. I think what one, and there's a few, you know, but I think off the top of my mind when I heard this was getting back into the worlds, into the circle. I think those moments were pivotal for us because they somewhat set the tone or the pace, and you know, because the one we get in, and then we walk around, cool. Then we come back again, it's after like this movement piece, and then now starts off with me singing, you know, and then the next one, it's this WWE thing, you know, and I think that was pivotal in the sense that we somewhat kept the audience on their toes.
Yeah.
Especially in the third one, you know, where we broke that.
Yeah.
Grateful for that note, because then it was like, oh, whoa, what are you, oh, okay, we're here now. But I think those moments were very pivotal. They helped us get through the gears.
It's so interesting because mine has nothing to do with the play itself.
Oh.
No, in a way it does. It does.
Yeah.
Two. I'm going to say 2 in 1. The first night, having that engagement, because we had never done that before, and that was the biggest deal to me. I was like, above all else, like you had shared with me what the biggest deal for you was regarding the play and bringing this to life. The biggest thing, I knew that was going to happen, and I knew we were going to be fine, and I knew I was going to be fine because of you. But after, I was like, this connection with the audience is everything to me. Even if they don't feel like they don't like it, I just want to talk.
Talk about it.
And they stayed and they spoke except for the Saturday nights, every other night there was a connection there. But the Friday night was the first time I had that experience. And then the second thing is the last show, where my family watched me for the first time. It was the first time I invited my family to watch me perform. That's never happened before. And I was trying to make it as small of a deal as I possibly could. I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't really know. I'm sure you noticed the fact that I was just like, no, I was dismissing it a little bit. Yeah, they're coming. And two of Matebe's three sons were watching in the front row. I named Matebe after my grandmother, which we have shared that note if you were at the show. And her two sons were sitting in front, and they were engaged with this play. And I don't know, that feels really cool.
It's got a bit of a...
It's so pivotal. It's like,
got a
oh
bit
my
of a ring to
goodness.
it.
And my grandfather never knew that Matebe's husband, he never knew that I was in the arts when he passed. I was very closed off about that stuff because I guess there was a sense of shame in the fact that like I didn't end up doing he didn't make me feel that way, but I felt that way, that like I didn't end up doing something traditional as far as school and work are concerned. And I was just like, I'm just going to hide this part of my life. And it just is interesting, a full circle moment, no pun intended, a full circle moment that her, two of her babies were watching me, and it's her firstborn and her secondborn, and one of them is my dad. And it was just,
So last question. What is something you'll both miss after everything?
You go first. You first.
What will I miss, man? I think what I will miss really is, I guess, our conversations. Yeah, it's not every day you get to be with someone every day for like 8 hours or so.
It was definitely more than 8.
Yeah, definitely more than 8.
It was like 12 hours.
Like 12, like on set, but where like you're working and then you're engaging with the matter, with the subject matter, but then you also like, no, but wait, there's other aspects of this as well. Because I don't think I've ever talked as much about this topic like in the last 4 or 5 months. It's always been here.
Yeah.
It's always been here, and then the little bit that trickles out, the intrusive thoughts.
Yes.
But then to talk about it so much really helped me as an individual.
Yeah.
It's like healing,
Very much so.
Yeah, so I think that's one thing I'll miss. And I think also, just the safe space as well. Space was safe. To be able to come in and just, 1, do the work, but 2, do the work truthfully. Yeah, there's a couple of things that I'll miss. I don't know. What about you? Like,
I don't want to answer this question. I already did tell you this. I did tell you that I will miss you.
Yeah.
And I say not just you as a human being, but I think just you as far as like the support you gave, but also leading this project, also just spitting ideas. You listened to me throughout this process, and you allowed me to listen to you. And not everybody gets that. And I completely understand it's a trust thing. And we were fortunate to have that foundation, knowing each other for 2 years and having performed with each other in the past. But I will definitely miss being able to share my ideas and feel confident enough to share my creative ideas. When we marketed this play and everything, it was so fun seeing you support my concepts. And I think it's so nice when someone lifts you up in something that you're stronger in, but also lifts you up when it's the things that aren't necessarily your strength. And you even did it in the show for me. So yeah, I'll miss you. I'll miss seeing you every single day. Really? Even though I was like, this is a lot. And it was my idea, It was my idea at first. I was like, no, we need to see each other every day because we need to work and everything and get it done. And it's the only way I think we could work on the chemistry. And I was right about that part. It helped a lot. But yeah, I'll miss you, and it kind of makes me want to cry. Yeah, it makes me want to cry. But yeah, it's fine because we'll do other work together. I just can't see you for 12 hours in the day in the future because, you know, life happens. We have other work to do.
Yeah, that's so real.
And adulting is a real thing and commitments are a real thing. So yeah. I will miss you.
Yeah, and I think it was also, what I miss is also just a different perspective on things, whether it's creative, personal, even within like marketing, you know, like business is different. And I think what I really appreciate about you is that like it's in the fine print. You know, you always bring up the fine print, like what's actually the subtext here.
Yeah.
You know, and then in my mind I'm thinking to myself, damn, I never thought of it like that. You know, I mean, I'm always someone that try to keep an open mind.
Yes.
And just hear people out.
Yes, you do.
You know, and hearing you out and just seeing the way you see it, you know, would also make me think like, damn, maybe I need to also look at things better. And a great example of that is like just theater in general. Like I wasn't somebody that would watch. You know, and I think for me, when I was like, yo, let's go watch Katanga. I know it was only like once, you know, but I was like, damn, at least I could meet her halfway with suggesting a play.
True, because I do be suggesting.
You know, Itumeleng said, let's go watch this, let's go. And I'll be like, damn, and I feel like, yo, I hope I'm not like letting her like down.
You're not.
Because like sometimes
I understand that it's not easy, and I guess I didn't, you know, when that question came up, I don't want people to think that, you know, you can't watch. Not being able to watch or affording to watch or even having the time sometimes to watch doesn't make you any less of an observer and creative. But palate, if you can, and sacrifice 100%. Certain things to watch other people do work and your peers do work, I definitely think you should. But I didn't think it was a bad thing.
Yeah, but like for me, I was like, damn, at least one, bro. Like, come on.
And it was a strong one.
And it was a strong one. You know, it was one that hit home for me too.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what I'll definitely miss, because there's a lot of people in the industry that are here to either be famous or to cook, you know, but you don't get to see eye to eye. Even when we have our disagreements, we somewhat still find a meeting ground.
Yeah.
For other people, it's the end. It's chai.
We're breaking up. We're leaving.
We're breaking up. We're packing up shop. You know, the band's over. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and it was. And I don't think I would have been able to navigate the space with someone else.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to cry.
Yeah. I don't think I would have. It would have never been the same if I had not gone, because like we balance each other out. There's crazy, you know, ideas, you know, and then you somewhat like bring me down to earth, you know, but not in a bad way, but dude, remember where we are?
Yeah.
Like, let's remember like our resources rather than where we are. It's irrespective, but like, let's remember our resources. You know, and I think that's such a powerful balance, because then, you know, it's just these two great brains meeting each other halfway, you know, and then you just get this like, you get Hondo Yedu. That's what you get. You know, you get what we did, and I think what we did was very liberating. Yeah. You know, you can have a great show with someone, but it's like, wow, you know, like at what cost? Like you did something so great, but at what cost? But this felt really liberating, and I think this was possibly the best entrance and first contribution to the industry that I could ever possibly have imagined.
Yes.
You know, we're both stretched. We held each other accountable. We held each other down.
Yeah.
You know, when you were up, you were up. When I was down, vice versa. You know, but yeah, I really don't think, when I asked you, I was serious. I was like, listen, if you say no to this thing, it's just going to be me. Maybe you'll assist me, but I don't know of anyone else that would be able to thug it out to the end.
Yo.
I know when we said...
Barely.
You know, I know we said, like, 4 shows is crazy, but we did the 4 shows.
And we had a good time, you know.
And we had a good time, you know, and yeah, I don't feel like, we should work with it too. Itumeleng, I'm not sure. Nah, 100. If you were to call me at like 2 a.m., you know, and happy to be awake, like, yo, I've got this concept, I'll hear you out. You know, I'm down for that. And I think those are, when people are at that point, I think that's when the best work comes out.
Yeah.
You know, and what I'm grateful to have you around was you allow me to be curious. And I think for any creative watching this, if you can just afford more curiosity as a creative, I think that's when we'll start to pick up on the intricacies that haven't been picked up on in the topic or in the craft.
Yeah.
And yeah, because for other people it can be like, dude, why are you always asking why, bro? Like, just do it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, but why can't we question that little thing?
Exactly.
You know, and having someone understand that really, it helped a lot. I'm extremely grateful to have you around, and yeah, it's gonna be sad, man, because but it's not the end. It's not the end. But it's the beginning of something great.
else.
You know, when they talk
Yeah.
about those partnerships, and you know, when you look at your Matt Damons and your Ben Afflecks, you know, like I see that here.
Yeah.
You know, I see that here, you know, not only between the two of us, but with the people that we've also brought on board.
Yeah.
With the collectives, with you know, we've built some like it's a nice, intimate but strong collective that we've managed to curate
Right.
and go forward. And I'm extremely grateful, you know, for Ketsia, Zebra, you know, everyone that's been on this.
Yeah.
You know.
Ketsia being assistant director,
Yeah,
and
you know,
then
like-
Zebra being our DOP throughout everything.
Yeah, no, man, held us down, eh? Like,
You know, Linda and Kanya
Kanya
and
and
Mbali
Mbali.
being our tech, women in tech, like, that's not stuff we really planned ahead of
Yeah.
time. Like, Manaka also, like, spearheading as well as far as assisting with the work and the vision.
yeah, and you know, like that, you know, I may not come out as you know, some people say like I'm feminist or whatnot. Like I don't, the thing is so late, I don't have the time to unpack that, right? And I respect those that do. But being an older brother of two younger sisters, it's always been a thing of like, listen, in whatever you do, just make sure you're good. If it's cooking, if it's drawing, if it's playing music, if it's talking, or whatever it is that you do on this earth, just make sure you're good and that your work speaks for itself. And you know, to have these powerhouses of women, you know, pour into the project, for me, it's just surreal.
Right.
It wasn't something, and I'm not saying I was not intentional, but it just.
But we didn't plan that.
We didn't plan that, you know, and the pieces just fell in place, you know, and it was so, cause like that's what I'm used to. It's just my dad and I. We're the only men in the house.
Yeah.
And then it's my mom, my grandmother, and my two younger sisters, and our helper. Shout out Pumzi here, man. She holds it down for us.
Isn't it interesting that it's two men and then here it's two men, it's you and it's Zebra?
Yeah.
And then everybody else is just women that have just been holding space, supporting and taking the time out of their lives and to help
pour.
us. And we you know, theatres, and we don't have money.
Yeah.
We don't
have the
have the
capacity.
money
Yeah.
to pay these people in the way that they deserve.
That they deserve to be
But
paid.
they still led with love and took this project and us very seriously, and I appreciate them very much, and I don't want to cry again, so
Yeah,
I'm just
I
gonna
think I ran out of juice.
we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap up that.
Yeah,
but thank you so much.
Yeah, but last comment, like, thank you for letting me lead. You know, I think for me that was very, that gave me the confidence I needed within not only my own abilities to lead, but within the project.
Yeah.
To spearhead. Yeah, because sometimes that can be taken away from you. You pitch your idea and then you just watch this thing turn into something that, damn,
That's not what I signed up for.
yeah, that's not what I signed up for. You know, and to lead a project is truly an honor. And I think we did justice. So yeah.
Thank you for accepting it, because I saw you before in the past,
Yeah.
and I guess that's part of what I want to do with my future is see artists, the ones that don't see themselves, and help them lead in the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to lead the same way, but if I can at least tap into that part of you that has all that strength then I've done my part in this. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Wait. Are we? Let's go. Are we not working out? How are we going? We just can't. Oh.
Oh, you want workouts?
Yeah. No. Did we get it?